Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inkfinger Cat, back with day 12 of Christmas in July, and today's theme is Top the Tree. Interpret it however you wish. I'm going to interpret it by using some tree-based dies and maybe do a bit of sewing. That's my plan. So, before I get started with the actual crafting, quick one. For those who don't know, if this is your first video, hi, welcome to the madness that is my videos. Christmas in July I have done for the last 2 years. There are 2 playlists already up for last year's and the year before, and this year's is already up and running as well. So you can check out all the videos. The reason I say all the videos is because I do a video every day making a festive project. I love it, really love it. I'm filming this a few days ahead, and yeah, so far positive response to my videos. When you get most of my videos, I'm happy if I've managed to reach 50. Sometimes I only reach 30 people watching my videos, and that's fine. I'm not here to make money, I'm not here to do anything, you know, go viral and all the rest of it. But Christmas in July, the first video is already over 1,000 views. Just totally and utterly amazes me that 1,000 people have clicked on my little video. I know that not all of them will have watched it all the way to the end, and that's fine, but for those of you that have, I really appreciate it. So please subscribe to see future videos, because that's the way of knowing that you're going to see the video rather than it just randomly appearing in your feed. And hit the notification bell if you want to know when the next video is up. Obviously that's dead easy in July because it's every single day, or that's the plan. Obviously we're only on day 12, there's still quite a lot of the months to go. Oh, that means I've done a third, doesn't it? I've done more than a third. Yeah, but the rest of the year I don't post as frequently as daily, so it's probably important to hit that notification bell too. And then obviously I'd love to know what you think of what I make, so a like, a comment, always appreciated. Also helps YouTube know that you're enjoying my videos, and they'll give you similar type of content in your feed, so it's a really positive way of interacting with the platform. And I think I've now said everything I want to say at the beginning. Been going on for nearly 3 minutes, so it's time for me to start crafting. So when I organised all of my supplies ahead of Christmas in July for what I was going to do, I pulled out these 2 colours of green cardstock and this sewing die from Spellbinders. I think it was one of the first sewing dies I bought. Yeah, I think it was. So it's a good few years old now. I really love it still. I think it's really cute. It's dead easy from the sewing perspective. And it, you know, it always seems to make cute cards of all different styles. So I die cut it from the darker coloured green, and then this is me just tidying up the die and punching all the tiny little holes out, ready for its next use. I find that if I do this now, it'll be a lot easier to die cut it next time, whereas unfortunately I didn't do that last time. So yeah, I had to also punch the little hole pieces out. And I decided to go with green embroidery floss, embroidery silk, in order to do the different layers of the tree. But I did choose 2 different colours of green. So I have a light colour green for the top and the bottom, and a bright but darker colour of green for the middle level. I normally do all my sewing off camera, as in I'll start it off and then I'll do it off camera. I didn't in this case because I was listening to an audiobook and I just didn't move. Plus, I had only die cut one of the trees out. Usually when I do this die, I make a bunch of them all at the same time, pop them in a pouch, and then I'll go and do the sewing at another time. But Christmas in July does not allow for me to do that, so I did not. And I normally have them then sort of ready-made in a pouch to just add to projects. But again, Christmas in July and all of the samples I'm making for design team stuff means I have not got time to die cut multiples, make multiples for future projects. I am literally just doing this project, clear it away, next project, clear it away. there's no time saving for future Catherine going on at the moment because there's that much to be done. I keep my sewing really simple. I use 3 strands of the silk, and then I literally use washi tape to adhere the ends. I do tend to do the final end is sort of like I sew it through and knot it, but I still use some washi tape to just adhere it in place. I don't do anything fancy. These are literally just going backwards and forwards type sewing project. There is nothing complicated about it in the slightest. And you'll see here I had unfortunately just slightly run out of the thread, so I did have to cut myself a new one for this middle piece. And then I go back to the light green and do the top section with light green. So for the purposes of speed, I'm going to go up to 8 times so that you don't have to watch that in monotonous repetition quite so much. Plus I ended up with a few snaggles and a few like little knots in my thread, so I did end up having to faff around with that one a little bit more. But there you go, that is my little tree topper done. Now to create my card base. So I've got this brighter green cardstock. I wish I could tell you what colour it is, but I can't remember. It's an old Stampin' Up colour. It might even be a current one, I don't know. And I created my card blank in my normal way. I fold my A4 in half so that it's, so it goes from portrait down to a landscape, if that makes sense. And then I cut that folded card in half at 10.5 centimetres, and then I make myself a panel that's just a centimetre smaller on each side than the front of the card base. I then went and had a little wander through my basket that's still got like dies that I haven't yet set aside for Christmas in July projects this year, or that are sort of more backgroundy type things. There's some stencils in there, and I pulled out this one which does a piercing effect of the snowflakes, and then I'm using some ink to just go around the edges just to darken it up and give it a little bit of like a halo, a vignette, that's probably more what it is. I just used an old Stampin' Up ink there called Lucky Limeade. I then did some splatters with the Lucky Limeade, and then I went and grabbed from my cupboard the Kingston Crafts Shimmer Spritzes, and I pulled out this one called Mistletoe and just used my fan brush to again do some splatters all over the front, so there's just a tiny bit of shimmer to that. And then a bit of a clean up just to make sure none of that sort of spritz gets stuck on my glass mat. It has got a little bit of like a resin in it. I don't really know what's in it, but there's a compound in it that seems like a resin, so it dries quite solid and has got some texture to it, which is great for your projects, but you don't really want it sticking to your surfaces because it's really difficult to get off. Right, onto my sentiment, and I chose to use the sentiment that was in the same die set, and it's one of these where it sort of like pierces the word and it says Merry Christmas, rather than it cutting it out, if that makes sense. I did just mount it on that tiny scrap of the lighter coloured green, just so that there was a little bit of a difference between what was on the front of the die, which is the dark green, and then the word. The bits that are sort of like peeking through is just a slightly lighter colour. And that is going to be my sentiment that I'm going to stick across the top of the tree. Apologies, I was scratching on the camera there. I didn't realise I'd even done that. I've got a bit of an allergic reaction type rash, we think it is, going on at the moment, and we don't know what I'm allergic to, don't know what I've reacted to. But yeah, occasionally they just get a little bit itchy, and I obviously scratched without even thinking there. Right, I have glued my tree down into place. I have put the background down with the ATG tape, and here I'm just putting some foam adhesive at either end of my banner to just prop it up over the top of the tree. I did add some glue as well, just to make sure that everything's adhered in place, especially when you're working with things like the thread. It's quite a bulky panel with the sewn elements, so it's good to just add a little bit of liquid glue just to make sure that that works. And then I went to town with some sequins. You'll have seen this sequin mix if you've been watching this series of videos on my Christmas in July playlist this year. I've used this set of sequins quite a few times. I think it was called Lucky Charm. It was a sequin mix that Hey Little Magpie had put into the embellishment kit. It's clearly not meant for Christmas, but it works as long as I just avoid the ones that look like flowers or the ones that look like little faces. There are some greeny gold, kind of slightly more flat sequins in 2 different sizes, and they're the ones that I am adding. And I went, yeah, as I say, a little bit mad and just kind of scattered them all around. I normally do a 3 or a 5 or a 7. No, I went all over the place. I did quite a lot, but I really like them. I think they look really cute. They're nearly there. I have this year been trying to make an effort with the insides of my cards, and I suddenly realised when I was looking at this I hadn't done anything to the inside. So I cut the sentiment again. This time I didn't mat and layer it with anything. I am literally just adding the die cut as it is to my inside of my card, and I just add it towards the top of the panel. I just thought it looked quite cute there. And that is my card done. I'm very happy with it. It looks a lot brighter on these photos. I don't know why, but it does. I mean, it is quite bright in real life, so maybe these are more realistic than the videos were. But I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do remember to hit the subscribe button if you've not already done it and you've got this far. You clearly enjoyed it, so hit that subscribe button to see future videos. Please leave a comment below if you like it and if you like sewing on your cards. I'd love to know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.